good, guys?
Good to go?
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to American Legion Post 86. I would like to welcome Congressman Gottheimer today.
You can take your podium, it's all yours.
It's
It's your house.
okay, I'm shy. Anyway, and Department Vice Commander Marciano. It's a really great day today for Sussex County, for the Post, and for all veterans. Tony was a workaholic when it came to helping his veteran friends and helping the American Legion. He was a man that was unstoppable. Other than that, I am at a loss for words. I loved working with the gentleman, and he's sorely missed. I'll now turn it over to Vice Commander for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Legionnaires, uncover, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recover.
Thank you, Vice Commander. Bob, thank you so much. Betsy, thank you so much for being here and for letting me do this. And it's an honor for me. Ashley, Sarah, Allie, thank you for letting us have Tony. Harry's here. Harry's been I'll talk about Harry in a minute, but just such a dear friend for so long. I love seeing you, man. Makes me very happy. Bob, thank you again, and David, thank you so much. And to all our veterans here, thank you for your incredible service to our country, the greatest country the world's ever known. Thank you very much to you guys. It's an emotional day for me, so bear with me. I'm sure it'll be easy for you. But I want to thank everyone, and you know, I believe deeply as a member of Congress in always getting the backs of those who get ours, those who serve our great country and have served our great country and who are serving now. And who've, you know, our democracy is a fragile thing. You know, it's a gift, but one that has to be fought for and protected every single day. We're a very young country in the grand expanse of things, and as we get ready to celebrate our 250th, you realize, you look at our history, that we stand on the shoulders of people like the veterans here. Patton said, we herd sheep, we drive cattle, we lead people. And you all know this quote, lead me, follow me, or get out of the way. And I think that's how I think about Tony. I always thought that captured him really well. I told him that once. I said, like, because you know, you didn't want to be in Tony's way if he had an idea that he liked. You know, and our service members step up every day, unwavering. Nothing more important, I think, in my job than looking out for them when they get home, obviously when they're serving. And our commitment to service members does not stop when they get home, and I think Tony really understood this. It's really when it begins, right? I think posts like this one kind of make that point, right? You have to keep looking out for service members when they return, and what, because it's not as if what they faced out on the battlefield ends when they come back to our shores. In fact, it many times just begins. And that was kind of what Tony understood, I think, better than most people I've met. And it's hard to believe that, we were just talking about how many years it's been. It's like a blink. 2020. I'm sure many of you feel about COVID the same way. Like that feels like just an hour ago. And so to be joined by Tony's family to mark the special occasion and all his friends and loved ones means a bit. I remember when Harry called me about Tony, it was hard to believe. You were sick. I remember you were calling me and giving me updates about him. And then when you called me that day, I just broke down and cried. We both were crying on the phone. And it's, you know, it's hard to believe. But he spent much of his life in Bergen County before moving to Sussex with Betsy and their daughters, Ashley, Sarah, and Allie. And before Tony served as seaman in the United States Navy. And by the way, you all know this, but there's people watching. I want them to understand this about Tony too, so when they hear about him. Before Tony served as a seaman in the United States Navy, he was an active member of Saddlebrook Fire Department. He was vice commander of the New Jersey Department of the American Legion, American of the Legion's Department Executive Committee, and of course, commander here at 86 in Newton. And he loved this post. We spent a lot of time in this post together. You all know that. Some of my meetings, we had roundtables here. We talked to him here. We had roundtables on picnic benches. I don't know if you remember, any of those you remember, like we had these roundtables. He would get people together. He'd call me up and say, we got a problem, you got to get up here. And I'd say, when? He's like, I'm in house today. And I was like, well, but I'm in Washington today. He's like, tomorrow? And is that about right? You know? He served as a senior officer of the New Jersey Department of Corrections. And I remember getting to go to the House floor after Tony passed and speaking about him as someone who never stopped fighting for his fellow veterans. And I had a few of the other veterans and other members of Congress come up and speak to me after, and I got to talk about Tony on the House floor with them. Not just what I said in public, but then afterwards. And that was a big honor for me because, you know, in Congress, we're all very proud of the people we represent, and Tony was one of the best people I got to represent. And so to be able to speak glowingly about him and his service was a gift. He was a hero, like so many veterans. He was humble, as could be. Never about him. I'm sure you all know that, Tony, right? It was never about him. Like, I don't think I ever remembered him. It's like, I'd say I want to do this, or I want to recognize you this way, or we should do something. And he'd say, yeah, whatever, like blow me off. Getting to know him was just one of the great joys of my career in Congress. And we first met. I went back and was looking through. I was talking to my team about this, like when we first met. I was trying to figure it out. I think it was a Sussex County Community College for a roundtable with local veterans. I think that's the first time I met him. There was no one who knew more about what veterans needed in Sussex and Warren County and what to do about it to make sure they got the attention and care and service they deserved. For more than 5 years, Tony and I worked shoulder to shoulder to deliver on that promise that he believed we had to deliver on. We cut through red tape and bureaucracy. He hated bureaucracy. So that our veterans didn't have to drive hours and hours and wait weeks and weeks for care. In 2017, Tony was instrumental in helping secure the long-awaited goal of the first VA community-based outpatient clinic, or CBOC, here to serve veterans in Sussex and Warren counties especially. That was right here in Newton. So those who fought for our country could access care closer to home. You know, it didn't make any sense, and it still makes no sense, that our veterans here and around our country have to travel so far to get care. And often, as a result, don't get the care that they need and deserve and have earned. It never made any sense to me. Those bureaucracy rules, people got upset, well, you can't have a facility here, or what's it going to do to the facility over there, and how are they going to get offended? And I never understood any of that. I just said, well, I understand what's the closest way our veterans can get the care they need, fast. Like, it should not be, it should not be a trial to have to get health care if you're a veteran. I just don't understand that. And we've made it too often difficult. And that's BS, in my opinion. When the clinic got done, I remember this, we get the clinic done and we had that nice celebration, those you remember, we did a ribbon cutting. And this I do remember. We were walking out, I remember this like it was yesterday, we're walking out, and I said, this is incredible, huh? Like, we're gonna help a lot of people. And he said, yeah, but what's next? I said, we just got this done. And he said, what else are we gonna do? And I think we did a call, and I think Harry might have been on the call, like right away about the next mission. We then worked successfully on getting veteran health care referrals to Newbridge Medical Center and local image care centers, because there was an image care right there, and you like people that travel to get imaging. It was right here. Made no sense. Right, across the hall, right? Like literally across the hall in that building. We continue to fight for life-saving in-person psychiatric care for veterans at the clinic in Newton. Tony had very clear thoughts on mental health issues and how we could deliver mental health support for people and what we should do about it. So every day I'm inspired by people like Tony and how they look after veterans, young and old. to commemorate the sacrifice of generations of service members, to expand medical care for veterans, to support our youth committee, which I appointed him to help make sure the next generation of veterans were always coming up, and we picked the best people for our academies. Tony was very involved in that. And that was part of the reason I named him posthumously as a 5th District hometown hero, which I was very proud to do. His memory reminds us that it is our duty as Americans not only to honor all soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and women, and guardians, but to do everything we can to fight for them when they return. And I think today is a call to action again for that, to help with healthcare struggles and transition to civilian life and costs and finding a job and things that shouldn't be so hard. And I think there's nothing better that we can do, in my opinion, as a call to action than to name and to rename the Sussex VA Clinic in Newton the Anthony Tony J. Gallopo Veterans Affairs Clinic. Nothing could be more important, in my opinion. Not just to honor Tony in this new bipartisan legislation that I'm introducing today, but to honor all veterans and all those who fight for others who've served and who are serving. This bill is co-led by Congressman Herb Conaway of New Jersey's 3rd District, a fellow veteran. It's endorsed by the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, and the veterans of foreign wars. And this new effort is supported by our entire New Jersey delegation, Democrats and Republicans. Every single one of them is backing this legislation. That, to me, is a huge extra honor to Tony. It's hard these days to get everybody to agree on anything, as you probably know in Washington, if you haven't noticed that. By renaming this clinic, we will enshrine Tony's legacy and reaffirm our enduring promise to fight for veterans the same way he did. And to Betsy and Ashley and Sarah and Allie, I am committed to moving this bipartisan legislation forward, to fighting for it, to making sure we get it across the finish line. Today is the beginning of the fight to get it done. Given that we have everybody behind it, I think that's really going to help, and to make sure that we properly honor a great man that I know you and so many of us loved. He always spoke to me about you guys, especially as kids. He loved talking about you. You should know that. I remember we did something together soon before he passed, and he was going through each one of you. He kept me like up to date, and he was so proud of your accomplishments. And I love to travel with you and do things with you. And to Harry, Roger, and Bob, who knew and worked with Tony, thank you for joining me in this effort. Thank you for always being there for him and for caring enough to be here today. And Harry, I know you loved him. I know how hard this was for you. Still is, I know that, but he'd be very proud of you as ever. And since it's Veterans Day this week, I'm also introducing 2 other bills that are bipartisan. One on child care, because child care costs are crushing the pocketbooks of our veterans, in particular, and their families. Every service branch has thousands of vacancies at their child care and child development centers. The Army has nearly 7,000 open jobs. The Navy has 4,000 vacancies to help provide child care. I'm introducing bipartisan legislation with Congresswoman Ashley Hinson, who's a Republican, to require the Secretary of Education and the Secretary of the VA to study child care services available to veterans and their families, identify gaps, evaluate existing barriers, and develop solutions to address high costs and these gaps. Again, after veterans sacrifice so much, we must do more to care for them and their families. And finally, too many of our veterans come home after protecting our freedom, and they can't afford food and basics for their families. I don't know if you know this, it's a huge problem. We can't let rising costs force our veterans to struggle financially. You come home, you fight, you protect us, and then you can't feed your family? It's a disgrace. So I'm announcing new legislation to codify increases to veteran benefits, ensuring they match the cost of living as it rises each year. This will help ensure our veterans won't have to worry about whether rising costs will ever outpace our support for them. Since day one, my first piece of legislation that passed actually was a VA amendment to accelerate the hiring of post-9/11 veterans. And with the help of so many here today, we've made countless strides, like the Valor Act to expand health care available to vets. I helped negotiate and pass the PACT Act to support roughly 3.5 million of our brave veterans exposed to burn pits and toxic substances. I led legislation to extend the suicide prevention and resilience program for our Guard members, veterans, and their families. Again, dealing with mental health issues and making sure our veterans get taken care of. Our Support Our Veterans strategy includes legislation to help streamline appeals process for veterans so they can get the benefits they've earned and deserve, including health care. and other assistance with housing and other things. Again, there should be no bureaucracy in Tony's honor that gets in the way of taking care of our veterans. So whether it's healthcare, mental health issues, other healthcare issues, seeing a doctor, I hope the veterans all know that my door is always open to you. Always. It's the least we can do. These are not red or blue issues. These are red, white, and blue issues. These are American issues. These are as basic as they get. And that's why we're here today, to show gratitude for our veterans with deeds, not just words. And honoring Tony Gallopo with this, what I believe, very well-deserved honor. It's a gift to do this for Tony. And now we got to take action to get it done, across the finish line, and make sure we honor our veterans, all of our veterans, for their great service here in the greatest country in the world. I know if we work together, our best days will always be ahead of us. Thank you so much. May God bless Tony and his family and all of our veterans and our great country. Thank you so much, and it's my honor to introduce Betsy, his wonderful wife. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Gottheimer, for inviting us all today. Tony would be so humbled and honored to have the Sussex County CBOC, BA CBOC, named after him. It was a project close to his heart and meant so much to him, as Josh talked about. As most of you know, my husband was passionate about helping veterans, and if you didn't know, you know now. Years ago, he saw a need in Sussex County, and I guess Warren County as well, because that's pretty far out too, for a more easily accessible medical and mental health facility for veterans. Congressman Gottheimer shared Tony's vision, and together, along with others, worked diligently to make this a reality. I'd like to thank Congressman Gottheimer for being an advocate for veterans and for believing in and always supporting Tony. Naming the Sussex County CBOC after him will help Tony's legacy live on and assure that he is remembered for the caring and dedicated person that he was. My daughters and I would like to express our gratitude to Congressman Gottheimer for helping to keep Tony's memory alive. I'm sure that he is smiling down on us today.
Harry, do you mind getting from that?
Excuse me, I'm getting a new knee this month, so I'm a little slow. Even slower than I usually am.
We'll go for a run after that.
Yeah. I was asked to say a few words about Tony. How is that possible, to say a few words about Tony Gallopo? I think it's impossible, because he did so much for veterans. And the one thing that always stuck in my mind, my daughter Jennifer, who's standing over there, she met Tony for the first time, and she met him for about 15 minutes, and she was talking. And we walked away, and she went up to me and she said, "Dad, that is going to be the best friend you will ever have." And boy, was she right. She knew what she was talking about. Tony was the best friend I've ever had and ever will have. He was a tireless fighter for veterans. Even when he passed, he was involved in a group that was trying to, there was, I believe, a hospital that was closed, shut down, again, in the Sussex area, and there was a group of veterans trying to get together to turn it into a home for homeless veterans, and he was on that committee. And he was also the DEC. When he passed, he was still active. And I used to go to a room with him at the convention down in Wildwood every year. And Tony had a lot of medical issues. And I used to always kind of tease him. I used to tell him that I feel that I'm rooming with Rite Aid. Because he took so much medication. But I'll tell you, he meant so much to veterans, he meant so much to my life, just like Congressman Gottheimer here. He's meant a lot to me. I absolutely love this man, and I love Tony also. And I knew the whole family, and when Tony passed, I made so many phone calls throughout the state to let people know that Tony had passed, that I literally could not talk at the end of the day. And that was 2 days long, calling everybody, because I was the go-to man, because I knew the family so well, and I was able to relate to everybody the very sad news that we lost Tony. But anyway, we can all see that his legacy lives on. If you've noticed, there's a plaque when you walk in this room that the Post donated in his memory, that this room, what we're in right now, is donated to Tony. And now I'm so happy that the C Block is going to be donated to him also. And I consider myself a better person because of Tony Gallopo. Thank you very much.
Roger, you're going to say a word, do you mind? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to thank you for everything that you have always done for us and bring back a little piece of history. Shortly after you were elected for your first term, one of the first things that you did, and Tony naturally was involved, was to come to this post, and we had a forum. I don't know if you remember that.
Totally,
but it
right,
was-
we had that table, right, set up that way.
Yeah, and it wasn't long after you were elected for the first time. Tony was a good friend. Tony, we had a lot of fun at Legion College and Wildwood at the convention, and as was mentioned several times before, Tony was always in there pitching for everybody. When I wanted to go for state commander, Tony was the first person to get on board and start doing fundraisers for me, and he was part of the reason that I was so successful. He was behind me all the way. But he was just a guy that did everything, and I always considered him a good friend. We had a great friendship and a great relationship, except for one day a year. Does anybody know what that one day is?
Army Navy.
That's right. Everything changed on Army Navy. But anyhow, if Tony was here now, I think he would probably agree with me with this challenge that I'm going to give to you, Congressman.
Yes, sir.
There's a thing called a means test. You familiar with that? The means test blocks veterans from VA benefits because of income. It was enacted in 2003. So if anybody joined the VA prior to that, they were eligible for VA benefits. If you joined after that and your income was above a certain mean, you're not eligible for VA benefits. So that's a challenge, and I know
Especially here in New Jersey, probably.
if Tony was here, he would agree with me, and I give you that challenge.
Okay,
If you
I'm
can-
on, you're on. Okay, I'm on, I got it, I'm on.
Well, good.
Thank you so
And,
much,
thank
Roger.
you again.
I'll call you about that.
Good, thank you.
He's not talking to the wall either. Believe me, it'll get done.
With that, let me just, again, I want to thank everyone for coming here today. It's a special day, and a day that I hopefully you all remember. And you know, again, you could feel Tony in this room, and that's a nice thing. It's a day where you could smile about Tony, and I think that's a gift, and he was a gift